Okay.
Hi everyone, welcome. So this is our monthly startup pitch workshop. So basically we get a founder on and we have an investor, Amiya. He's going to be introducing himself in a bit. And what we basically do is that we get people to pitch to the investor, and he'll basically offer a review of the pitch and also some strategic advice. And everybody else can basically spectate. So Amiya, you can get started.
Sure. Thanks, Raghav. So let me give a quick introduction about myself. I have about 15 years of experience. I've done various things. I've been a consultant. I've been a product manager with companies like Cisco and Amazon. I am a startup mentor with Vadvani Foundation and with NASCOM as such, and also an active investor with my firm called Ayurtha Capital, where we look to invest into sector agnostic different stages, typically at seed stage startups. So that's the quick background. With respect to this particular conversation, Sreeragh, if we can keep the pitch to say 10 minutes to 15 minutes, that would give us ample time to discuss the rest of the items, and I can give you my inputs. Take it with a pinch of salt. If you don't
Sure.
like it, please ignore it. But the intention here is to give everybody a view of how something is going to be looked at from an investor point of view primarily, and not just be restricted to what you're building, but an overall market view of what an investor sees and what are they looking at. So that's the intention here. So over to you.
Thanks, Amiya. So I'll start by sharing my screen. So before that, let me just give you a quick introduction about myself. I am the founder of Bizmo, and previously I've been working with Deeper Network as a customer support agent, and then slowly transitioned to web development. I started building websites. I had an agency where I started building websites for clients, and then I saw this huge problem, and I thought, why not start learning development rather than designing? And then started building this platform called Bizmo. I started building this 10 months ago. So right now I have a MVP and few paid customers. So uh, yeah, so uh, I'll start with the pitch. And yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. So Bizmo is basically a AI powered website builder for non-technical and non-design folks. So we use a different method called component manipulation for building websites. So let me give you a brief about what component manipulation and element manipulation is. So the biggest problem with current website builder market or website builder industry is most of the website builders have a element manipulation approach. So for example, now when we look at both these images, it looks very similar. The interface is very similar. And one is a tool for designers and another is a no-code website builder. And if you, this tool in the right, which is Figma, is used by professionals who have that much of design expertise. And to use the website builder efficiently, you need as much expertise in Figma to be using this. So for average consumers, it's very difficult to, or the learning curve is very high to start building website using no-code tools. So this is the main problem here. And now looking at the stats, all these stats say just one thing, that if you end up hiring freelancer or inexperienced freelancer due to cost constraints for small businesses, you might end up with a very bad website with very bad design that might affect the number of users coming into your website or staying or purchasing something from you. So this is the problem we are trying to crack. So the solution is a component manipulation approach. So we have all kinds of templates which are tailored for businesses, and which is which the all the design templates are used from the awards. The awards is a platform where the best websites are listed and the most conversion focused websites are listed. So we use all those components to actually build your website. And we also use the power of AI to uh, generate the content that is optimal for your website. So now looking at the market, every day around 250,000 websites are created. So this is the stats from 2018, and it's not been changing. It's only been growing since then. So around 3.9 billion websites are active. And one big problem here is only 10% remain active after the first year, because most of them, they don't end up paying the subscription and they churn out. I mean, they don't churn out. So uh, the main reason is because when you hire an agency, there will be a yearly recurring maintenance cost, which is very high. So usually in India, agencies charge upwards of around 20 to 25,000 rupees for just maintaining the website, apart from hosting and domain. So uh, and some agencies even charge a monthly cost of around 20 to 25,000 rupees. So this is the biggest problem for people opting out after the first year. So um, now looking at the USP, we have a component manipulation approach. We have all the integration and complete CMS, just like WordPress. A very easy to use interface. I'll just show a quick demo after the pitch. So what the bird eye view is basically the website building process now, is you have to learn conversion focused design, study how website works, learn SEO, learn responsive design, and you have to then learn tools like Wix, WordPress. I think before that you have to learn Figma, because only then you'll be able to use the other tools. And then you have to know what hosting is, DNS is, and then launch a website. So we are trying to just remove all the process which is there, and then just use one way to build websites. So this is our motive. So this is the market size. The total market size is around 1.9 billion US dollars, because this was a rough calculation because of 91 million websites are created annually, in which only 20% remain active. So that is around 120 million. And then this is what I am projecting. So business model, the entire platform is free to use, free to build any number of websites. We only charge when you connect your domain to the platform. And we have a limitations for the number of blogs or pages you can create. So it's a subscription based model, and you have a marketplace where you can build your own designs and sell them, just like how Canva has. Yeah, so the comparison of Bizmo with other website builders is similar to comparing Photoshop with Canva. You have a very similar approach. So yes, and unit economics, I think I have revamped this since the since sharing my pitch deck. So this is not the correct uh, pricing model. Yeah, so there are a lot of competitors in the market because the market is very huge. Uh, so uh, and around 70% of the competitors are actually IPO. They have gone public, and most of them are $1 billion companies. So there is Webflow and all these platforms. The biggest problem is the learning curve. They have very high learning curve, the best platforms, and the low learning curve ones are costly or expensive, because it's usually freelancers or agencies, and we come into this category where durable falls into. So so we have features: website builder, blogging, e-commerce. E-commerce is not yet active. So built-in SEO and marketing tools, app market, and branding engine. So yes, and yeah, that's the pitch. And I'm sharing the demo of the application. So this is a live demo. Sorry. Hello. Is someone?
No.
No, I just muted them. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So I'll just show the platform. This is a simple website I created in like 2 minutes. Just so you can drag and drop components from the left. Let's say I use this, and you can use any kind of images and style. It's all basic styling. So it's completely drag and drop component manipulating uh, application. You can create new pages, let's say about, and about section. Uh, because this is a sample content, I think probably the generated content will most probably be based on the sample content. So yes, and you can see the entire view of how your website looks, the entire sitemap. You can change themes from here. You can choose different themes based on your brand. You can also customize the theme to your liking. So you can click on custom, and so a preview of your website, you can publish this. So I'm not publishing it right now, or this might take like 10, 12 seconds. Yes, so it's published, and you can go to the link to see the website. So yes, um, this is just the actual builder, but you have more functionalities. For example, blogging. So you can start by creating a new post and description. I'm just adding random keywords here. So uh, you can start editing your blogs, and similarly, you can start. Uh, you can upload media to your application. You can create folders and add media, and you have app integrations where you can install different uh, other third-party apps. Also, we are planning to release an SDK so other users can build applications for our platform and earn some way. So similar to what Shopify is doing. And AI generated SEO where we fetch best working keywords and automatically fill based on your title. So let's say this is a meditation center, and yeah. So this basically checks for all the keywords, the best performing keywords on SEMrush, and then autofills. So you can save this, and you can connect your domains. You can add collaborators, people. You can bring in your uh, uh, team members and let them do the blogging or editing the website. So, and this will be the pricing plan. We have a hobby plan, which is around $6, a team plan $12, and the starter plan, which is around $20. This is a monthly plan. If you choose the annual version, you get around $6, and monthly version will be around $7. Yes, this is the uh, platform, the demo. Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sreeragh.
Thank you.
Let me start off by asking a few questions. Now, what you've mentioned is that the component-based versus element-based. That's the segregation that you have in mind.
Yes.
That raises the question in terms of the complexity of a website that you can handle.
Yes.
Meaning, if it's a static website,
Mhm.
then sure, component-based website or tools providing components-based website development have a certain advantage because they don't really need a lot of skill to come into the picture anyway.
Yes. Correct.
So help me understand up to what kind of complexity can you handle?
So you can design almost all kinds of website because we have functionalities in the style section to manipulate the CSS as well. So each minute detail can be manipulated if you have a little more expertise in designing and coding. But then if your expertise level is low, it's probably you can just use the
So
templates which are.
let me just take an example. So let me just say that I want to create a dynamic website where people want to come. I want them to sign up and log in and then do a certain items.
Yes.
Or I want to have guests who come in and do blog posts, etc., etc. So can you handle all
Yes.
of these things?
These are in the timeline. So
Okay.
we are planning to add a third layer of login system. So basically, since we are implementing e-commerce, this is a must feature which we need. Uh, so
So
other
it doesn't
users
have
can
to
log.
be only for e-commerce. So that's where, so complexity part I understand. Now the next
Yes.
question was that who are you targeting?
We are basically targeting small medium businesses who doesn't have the uh, expertise in tech or doesn't have the money to actually hire a agency, and this will be the target audience. But any individuals who wants to build websites very quickly, and this our target audience is also agencies. So agencies also can use our website builder to actually start building websites. They can manage multiple websites on our platform at the same time. So
So with respect to targeting, what you've done is you have identified um, the kind of people you want,
yes, yes,
right, as your potential customer.
yes.
But the inherent requirement with respect to the complexity that they might have
Mhm.
with respect to what they want to develop will
Right.
also come into the picture.
Yes, correct, correct.
So when you're defining your target, you need to be very clear on what is it that you can support when you launch the product. So
Yes,
there might be things that are there on the roadmap, but you can't commit to those things right now. And if
right
if
now,
you're
correct,
willing to make a sale right now, then you have to
correct.
go with what you have right now.
Yes,
Okay. And that will narrow things down further for you. What is it that you
yes,
can support?
correct.
Sure, I'm assuming you'll have your website and other mechanisms through which you can sort of display your roadmap as well.
Yes,
Or you can communicate your roadmap via newsletters, et cetera, to your potential customers and all of those things. But this persona and their
yes,
needs triggers.
yes.
So again, think about it this way. Your pricing, I will come to pricing later. So when I'm looking at a certain persona and I'm thinking they would want some sort of website to be built in place,
Right.
what is it that they want to achieve through that particular website?
Conversion.
Right.
Yes.
So website does not mean conversion,
Right.
right? Your website is
Mm.
awareness,
Awareness. Yes. Correct.
but the rest of the things, the content, so the AI generated piece that you displayed and all of those things,
Yes.
right? So in my mind, they need to be tested for actual
Yes.
conversion.
Right. Yes.
And one something that you could do for yourself as well. I mean, you can have a Bizmo website like this for yourself and
Yes.
see what sort of conversion you are landing through this.
Uh, Actually, Bizmo has been built using our platform itself.
So how
So
many
the
customers have you landed? And when did you
so
launch?
we started as a single page builder. It was just like a side project, and
Hmm.
then I received around 5 customers. So they gave me suggestions for adding multi-page options, blogging options, and everything. So I just iterated based on their requirements. So I haven't onboarded anybody since then.
Nice.
So it was all in beta. Uh, I could show you some of our clients' website which we
So when
Uh,
did you launch, or when
uh,
did you onboard your first client?
so this was, I think, around March, April,
Okay.
during that. Yeah.
So almost like 8
So
months ago.
yes, correct.
Okay.
So this is built using our platform. This is one of our client, a small business. And our main website also is built using our platform itself. So the customization options are, you can create your own components, and also if you know a little bit of Tailwind CSS and HTML, you can create your own components and paste them as well. So we have all those kinds of support. But uh, in the out like to manipulate easily, you can just use the template. So that's what
Understood.
we are.
Understood.
Yes,
Okay. So the point was that with respect to the persona identification, you need to do a little bit of work. You need to narrow
correct.
things down further.
Yes,
Right. Complexity also, because when you are highlighting what is it that you can achieve right now, you need
right.
that to be displayed on the website.
Yes,
But these are minor things. That's something that you can come to a conclusion on by yourself. That should not be a problem.
right.
Now, the most important question here is that, let's just say, and if you look at someone like Squarespace, they acquired
Right.
Weebly.
Yes,
Weebly is component based.
yes. Squarespace also is.
Yeah. So Squarespace is essentially Weebly because that's how they acquired and started getting into this particular.
Right, right, correct. Yes,
But irrespective, so they are a well-known brand in the market. They offer a component-based system. And then there are some other brands who do the exact same thing. Now, how do you think you will be able to stand up and
right,
defend your product
right.
against the likes of any of these guys? And as a matter of fact, let's just say that, see, component-based has been there for a very long time. So if you go to Wix,
Yes,
it's elemental. If you go to
yes.
Weebly, it's component, right? So it
Component.
has
Yes,
been there for a very long time. So I don't
yeah.
see anything specific which is very new that has been inserted into this particular ecosystem,
Right.
right? It's just actually the same thing that you are doing with respect to what someone else has already done.
Yes,
Just
correct.
maybe as a matter of fact, even Weebly has started doing AI based a lot of different
AI,
things,
correct.
or some other platforms. Rather, every other platform has started integrating and buying ChatGPT or whatever API and utilizing them to do whatever tasks that are required to be done.
Correct.
So, with respect to any niche in terms
Hmm.
of what you are bringing to the table, I don't see anything. So, if there is something, please let me know.
No, I think our approach is the a middle ground. Uh, So it's not like completely component manipulation. We do some kind of element manipulation as well. You can customize everything from text to buttons and everything. So cards, everything can be customized. But then our uh, uh, we have so this is where I think few of our customers have actually migrated from Squarespace because of the limited components and customizability. So I think that we have an edge. Though it is a component base, we are having a middle ground. Uh, I think even durable, or I don't think durable also falls into this category. So right now, the only company that stands in this category is Unicorn Platforms. So they launched last year, and they have almost have a 700K annual recurring revenue in the first year itself. So uh,
Right.
yes,
So, here is the thing. When I'm looking at it from an investor point of view,
yes,
and I'm looking at the giants that are already there in the space, and I'm trying to figure out that, let's just say someone has launched something and it starts gaining traction.
right,
What's going to stop someone else from doing that,
yes, correct,
right? Um, sure, I mean, it's not 100% that they will do it. They might,
yes,
Weebly has been there, but nobody has, for example, Wix has not tried to copy them.
yes, correct,
So it's all a probability discussion,
correct,
but there is nothing concrete. But having said that, there is always that sense of doubt that if that midway thing is still there,
mm-hmm.
and Wix starts to take a liking to it, Weebly starts to take a liking to it, then what happens with respect to the defensibility? Now, that's where the question arises that what is your GTM?
Yeah. So I haven't actually thought about it. So basically, mostly it was like uh, talking to the customers and iterating. So we are in that stage. We are in a pretty a very early stage. So
Hmm.
uh, I haven't thought about the GTM. So my one strategy would be uh, because of the I can ride on the AI hype, and also I am planning for a product hunt launch. So that would if I
Sure. I mean,
uh,
see, these things are good in terms of a burst awareness.
yes, correct.
But when you're looking at a sustainable awareness, you need to identify the right kind of channels, the right kind of people, how you're going to get to those people, what is the value that you're offering to them, what at what price point,
Right.
right? So all of these questions still need to be answered. So the way
Yes.
I see it,
Hmm.
it's to me, it's a pure play execution business. So
Correct.
I wouldn't say that, and actually, as a matter of fact, this is better than some of the other products that you will find that claim to be very niche or very very in demand. Because this thing will
Yes.
always be there. People will always need website. People will always have a lack of
Websites.
technical require or people with technical skills. So
Correct.
the demand is always going to be there. It's a matter of who gets in, who is able to spend more, who is able to acquire more, who is able to retain more, and who's able to execute better and across the entire spectrum.
Correct. Yes.
That's what this entire game is. So the focus in terms of your focus so far in terms of your business as such with respect to Bizmo has been
Mhm.
on the product. And that's a
Yes.
very
Correct.
good thing to do, especially at the stage that you are in, because the constant customer feedback, there is no better way to do anything apart from that. If your
Correct.
customers are driving your business, not driving your business, but giving you inputs, giving you ideas in terms of how to build, what to build, and whatnot. But
Yes.
at some point, you will also have to learn a bit more about product management
Correct.
because you will have enough pipeline of features for you to sort of wreck your head and try and figure out what the prioritization is going to be because you won't have the pricing that you're looking at and what you're looking to do. You probably not have a 100 people team. So with the
Yeah.
limited resources that you have to figure out your prioritization. So, in
Correct.
future, just look at that. But having said that, that's a good way to develop a product anyway.
Correct.
How you're going to sell it, how you're going to make people aware of it, what kind of people do you want to be aware of this, right? Especially the login feature, because a lot of these websites and platforms, people struggle a
Mhm.
lot with the sign up and login.
Yes. Done
So
this.
even if someone static websites are fairly easy, everybody
That
can
is
do that.
yes.
You just have
Correct.
WordPress is the simplest. You can just go and do it there. There is nothing really to be done. But
Correct.
dynamic websites, constant blogs, sign up login, all these are the kind of websites where general
Mhm.
population struggles,
Right. Yes.
right? So how you're going to reach out to these guys, how well can you really execute? That is what is going to
Yes.
define where your business really indexes.
Correct.
So your GTM is actually more important than your product.
Correct.
You
Yes.
can build the best product, but if you can't sell it, it
Yes.
won't make any difference. But if
Yes.
you start selling it and you realize there are these gaps, you can set the right expectations, go back, fix them, and still make the sale.
Correct. Correct. Yes.
So the I would strongly suggest to focus on your GTM. Okay.
Correct.
Now, on what basis have you decided the pricing?
So most of the platforms right now have a price parity kind of pricing. So WordPress is super cheap. I mean, Wix is super cheap in India, but compared to US, it is in US it is like thrice or four times the cost of what the cost is in India. So I haven't added the price parity here, but the pricing is fairly less than most of the other platforms. So we are very comparable to durable.co. We similarly copied their pricing because they have cracked the market. They have around 7 million users in the first 3 years. So I thought their pricing is very And also, for me, my cost for servers and everything, I have decided that this is a optimal pricing because here I think per user, if you are in the free plan, I would be only spending around 3 to 4% on the server cost. So 96% would be the
So
margin.
server cost is fine, but at the same time, you have to accommodate for your time or any developer's time or
Yes,
any
correct,
sales time or any marketing cost. So when you're looking at it from a pure product business, product perspective, then how
correct.
much you make the product for and how much are you selling for? This
Yeah,
is the version I'm getting the sense that this is what you have in mind and basis which you have done your pricing.
yes,
But
correct.
then for a business and for
Mm-hmm.
you to be profitable at the end of your operations, your marketing, your sales, your hiring, and
Right.
all of those things, you need to
Mm-hmm.
put a price because the way I see it, you might probably end up leaving money on the table,
Correct,
which is not a good idea. So you probably need to still work on figuring out the right pricing strategy as well,
correct.
because your operation and your sales and your marketing, this
Mm-hmm.
could become very heavy because
Very
at the end
expensive.
of the
Yes,
day, one of those things that you haven't probably accounted for, but you will need very badly is service. Because
correct.
at the end of
Yes,
the day, people are going to call you and say that, hey guys, I'm not able to do this. How do I do this?
yes, correct,
Right. And you will need people as one person, you won't be able to cater to everything.
correct.
Right. So you'll need people for that. So you'll need to do hiring as well. And that means you need to spend money there as well. So your
Yes,
pricing needs to reflect accordingly to make sure that your entire business is taken care of rather than just one aspect, which is product.
correct. Yes,
Right. So after all of that, so right now, let's just say that product is taking 5%. That means 95% of the entire margin is left. But of that
yes,
95%, marketing is expensive.
correct,
Um, just SEO, if you want to do, it will take a very long time because those indexings need to be built. So you will
correct,
have to go out and do other forms of marketing as well.
correct.
Having said that, they are expensive. So how are you going to get the money? This is the kind of business that most investors would probably not invest.
Correct.
The reason is that there is nothing new that you are doing. It's just
Mm-hmm.
a variation of things here and there. And every business that becomes pure execution business does not bring anything upfront which is niche or which can be perceived as a moat, or in due course of time, if you can present a story that you can build a moat,
Correct.
then it becomes relatively better for investment. But otherwise, if it's just a run-of-the-mill product that is already existing and you are just doing the same thing,
Right.
but in India maybe, and that might make things cheaper,
Correct.
that does not stop any other American company to put a team in India and start doing the same thing.
Correct. Yes.
So it becomes relatively difficult to invest. But that does not mean you can't make it successful.
Correct.
If you execute well, you still can. Product, you need to figure out your prioritization. Pricing, you need to figure out. GTM, very, very important. You need to figure out. You need to figure out what sort of marketing are you going to put in place.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of sales strategy you have to put in place. So when I'm looking at your slides, right, I see all of these things are missing. So, but you have already said that you're very early stage, you haven't thought about it. So that's fine. But the
Yes.
request would be that go ahead and take a look at all of those options as well. And that's where you need to put a lot of effort.
Correct. Yes.
Figuring out how to sell is probably the most difficult part of building a startup,
Yes. Correct.
and who to sell. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Um, so yeah, I think that's all the inputs I have pretty much. Once you have figured the rest of the things out, it's
Yes.
all about your execution. But as of now, how big a team do you have, by the way?
I am just I am building the product. I'm doing everything. It's just me.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
I
actually
understood. Huh.
I'm actually looking for a co-founder and people who can help me out. But the biggest problem is the cost. So right now I am actually working in contract and freelancing in the side and building the product in the side just to
Hmm.
keep the expenses. So also I just got the grant from Kerala Startup Mission, but the problem is it's been in I mean I haven't received in my account, but the
In your
grant is
account.
approved. So uh,
No, that
so
happens. it takes a bit of time sometimes from different, depending on the organization and the process and the stage and whatnot. So it can take a little bit of time.
Correct. So I think after getting some grant, I probably would hire few people for sales and marketing. Yes.
Yeah.
And
But those are very key roles. Okay. So don't
correct,
take them lightly. You need the right set of people. Just because they
correct,
are, just because you can find people for cheap does not mean that they can actually get the job done. At this
correct,
stage, the important thing is to find the right person who can actually get the job done rather than
correct.
looking at money. If you can find one person, but with the good skill set, that one person can do the job for four people that you can get for a
Mhm.
relatively cheaper price, right? So be very careful about these things. So yeah, I mean
Correct.
that's the input. I got the perception that
So,
you're doing it all by yourself. So
I got couple acquisition offers.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
one from shopper.com and Commenda.io. Both were UK, US based companies. They approached me for an acquisition. But then this was very early stage and I didn't thought of giving it up. It was a pretty good offer at that time, I think. So I, yeah, so that was it. And I have been talking to a few people also. The previous Byju's VP, he also approached me.
Hmm.
We had a chat. He previously built something called as Cucumber Town, which is similar to how my platform is, and he was willing to invest. So a small check.
Hmm.
So I had few interests, but none that I was okay with. So uh, yeah,
So the stage where you're at, the interests that might come, you have to be careful about those as well, because
correct,
you have to figure out the actual alignment with the person who's actually looking to put in anything, be it resources, be it time, effort, energy, money, whatever it is.
correct,
That agenda for partnering with you is more important than the actual partnership.
correct.
So the vision alignment, where you want to take this, be very careful about these things, and if need be, consult with someone from a legal perspective as well.
Correct.
Um,
Yes.
it's very easy at this particular point. You have something, that's for sure. You can do this. Okay. It's all about execution right now.
Correct.
But don't don't overlook the legal and compliance aspect, especially when you're signing any contract. If you are putting your signature on any piece of paper, be very careful.
Okay. Yes, got
Okay.
it.
But yeah, I mean, good going. I really like what you have. Not a institutional investor or a micro VC. You can have certainly angel investors who might be interested.
Correct.
People, you have already received acquisition offers. You know what kind of people would potentially be interested in acquiring something like this. Um, but you need to learn how to negotiate as well. Don't sell it cheap. You can still make a lot of
Yes.
from this. Okay.
Thank you.
So you got something good here, that's for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, that's all my inputs. If you have any questions, anything specific, or anybody else has anything, we can talk about that. We still have about 20 minutes.
No, I think all my I have very I mean I have a lot of questions about GTM. I have been going to a lot of meetups where they discuss about GTM strategies and everything, but none feels aligned to me. So I have talked to a lot of founders in SaaS industry who have cracked. I mean, Buy Me a Coffee and all those companies, but uh, there is I don't know if there is any rule book or something like that. Uh, if there is a any place where I can learn about how to set my GTM, you could suggest me.
So my perception and experience of GTM is there is no rule book.
Correct.
You might want to think that you can do A and you invest a lot of time, effort, energy, and money into doing or you using channel A. You might realize that I'm getting some results, but then all of a sudden you become aware of channel B, you start doing it, and you might realize that your returns are maybe 2x from A, right?
Right.
So the 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 complexity with respect to GTM is in the fact that once you start, every day that goes by, you are not at the same place where you were before.
Correct.
Right? Once you start, once you build a product, once people know about your product, you are every day that goes by, you are not at the same place. The variable changes. So the GTM needs to be devised in a manner that suits the not more than 3 months. What is it that you want to achieve in 3 months? Where you're one of those very important things that when you're devising your GTM that you should really figure out is where are your users? For that, you really need to know who your users are.
Correct.
Whether you have a user versus consumer. User versus consumer means someone's paying for it, but someone else is using it.
Correct.
So if you go B2B, let's say you talk to an agency, there might be a website development guy who's sitting and using your platform, but the decision maker is the managing director of the company or some director or some VP.
CXO.
Whoever, right? Who has got the budget in their hands.
Right.
So a very clear understanding of who you are targeting. If you're targeting individuals, then what kind of individuals? What is it that they're looking to achieve? How much money can they potentially put into this? And where are they?
Right.
So you have to have a very keen sense of all of these points and clarity. You don't want to go ahead and target 5 different personas at the same time.
Okay.
If you have identified individuals and say agencies and some other B2B companies with their own products, right? Small, medium businesses.
Correct.
Now, these are 3 different personas. These are not the same categories. When you have to, within this, you have to figure out which one is really that you want to chase. Which one is the biggest market? Which one is the biggest, which one has the biggest potential to, from a revenue point of view for you? For example, an individual might not be as keen into paying, but an agency might be, or a SMB might be.
Correct.
Right. So you have to look at all of these lenses and define your filters to identify who you want to focus on, and then define where that person is going to be. Is it a decision maker versus consumer play here, or is the consumer the decision maker? Once you have a very clear understanding, then you go and find out, are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Twitter? Are they mainly offline? If I go to offline meetups, will I be able to find them? If I go to Google I/O conference or Apple conference and all of these things, will I be able to find these guys? So offline versus online play. If I just do a social media marketing and define and run a campaign on LinkedIn with a specific persona in mind, what is the performance that I am getting? Right. So there are various channels, offline as well as online. You could also look at talking to someone, influencer in this particular segment, and they could potentially, if you're looking for a co-founder, they could potentially be your sales and marketing kind of person. So all of these kind of conversations and options are there, but it's your clarity that will decide what you choose. You might start off with doing one because that is what you can afford with the resources that are available to you. But after 3 months, you might realize that you can do something else as well. And then you do experiments, A/B experiments. And then you try and figure out which one is giving me better returns. If you are running 3 experiments at the same time, 2 experiments at the same time, or 2 channels at the same time, 3 channels at the same time, where you want to focus. Not everybody, and again, you have to make sure that you remain frugal with your approach. You remain focused and dedicated, and you have clarity in terms of what is the outcome that you want out of a certain approach.
Correct.
Don't go blind. Okay, at all times, you have to make sure that you know what you want out of this particular thing. And if you're not getting it, then you need to either talk to different people or by yourself or talk to some other experts, and then try and figure out how to come out of this. What else can I do to come out of a particular situation? But these are all execution, and how well you do it will define the course of action for you.
Correct.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, there is a lot that can be done with respect to GTM. There is no rule book. It's what works for you. As a founder, a lot of people always try and index on data, but a gut feeling also plays a big role.
Yes.
So if you know how to leverage that, you can actually do a lot better than just a pure data-driven and data-derived outcome as such. Because when you're starting off, you have no data. What data are you going to leverage? And everything else that is out there on the internet, you are not the person who was driving that. You don't have the same situation, resources, constraints, or advantages, disadvantages that someone else has.
Correct.
So
Yes.
it's always a very unique situation with a founder in terms of how you want to approach something.
Right.
So yeah, sure, learn from what is out there, or at least try and derive some learnings. But your situation is unique. You have to realize it and act accordingly.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Amiya.
No problem. Anything else?
No, I think all clear.
Okay. So well done on what you have done. And good luck. Good luck. Happy to help if you need anything.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. I think we have, I guess, like maybe 15 minutes left. And I think some people had some questions about, oh, did he leave? Oh, okay.
No, Sreeragh is here.
Okay, you're here. Okay. So I think some people had some questions. If you still have some questions, maybe you can ask to either Amiya or Sreeragh so that we can make use of these remaining 15 minutes that we allotted. Just like raise your hand or like unmute yourself and you can ask the question. But if nobody's asking, then we can also. I'll also like make an announcement saying that we do this pitch workshop every month, and Amiya offers his time to like do a one-on-one mentorship session, something like this. So if you're interested, please do sign up for this. There is a form in our website. I've pasted the link in our in the chat. You can go to thestartupclub.info and you can fill in the form, and I'll talk to you and then orient you, and we can set up a session, something similar to this. And also, like, there is a small mentorship program that we are starting to run, the Startup Club. I've been trying to conduct live events in Chennai, and we're trying to build a model for offline networking, because all of these things are concentrated in Bangalore, and we want to sort of like create a model for doing these, because there's a lot of like value that you derive from offline networking, face-to-face interactions. There's a lot of things that can happen that cannot happen on a Zoom call. So we're starting to do those things in Chennai. And if anybody's interested in participating in those or doing that, you can contact me. Another thing that we have started doing is that we're starting to conduct events in college campuses and setting up like chapters of the Startup Club in college campuses in Chennai, especially starting here, and we'll eventually like expand everywhere else as well, where we are trying to coach early stage entrepreneurs, like young people that have nothing to lose and a lot of energy. We are trying to establish the pathway to reach your early stage failures, so that like you can base, because failures and your experience is what constitutes your wisdom, and that is what is required for entrepreneurship if you want to succeed. And I see a lot of people like starting off at like 30, 35, and they already have kids and family, and they're very risk averse at that stage. So we want to start mentoring early stage founders to get into like a mindset of execution and like learning all the things that are constituting in the process of building a successful product or a service. So if you're interested in that, there's also a form for that in our website. You can go and fill that up, and I'll reach out to you and we can do one-on-one session. So those are some announcements. And also one other announcement is that we are also building a product. The Startup Club is building a product. We are building a product called ClickIn. You can go to clickin.com. I'm also going to send the link to this in the chat. So we started doing this in August this year, and we're building a mobile app which will help people discover each other, because that's the reason why all of us are here. The only reason why all of you joined the Startup Club was because you wanted to discover what's out there and find somebody, like whether it's an investor or a mentor or a fellow co-founder or an employee or whatever. And I've seen that problem, persist for the past year and a half. I met hundreds of people for whom this is a problem statement, and we're building a product to solve that. So right now we have the landing page, and we are scheduled to launch on March this next year. And if you are interested, you can sign up for the waitlist, and you will receive a notification when we launch, so that like you can join there and leverage. We're building like a high trust startup ecosystem. So because one of the biggest problems is that you don't know whom to trust. A lot of people just waste your time. So we're building a high trust startup ecosystem to make the least amount of time and effort investment to get the most right connections out of it. So if you have any questions on that as well, you can reach out to me. We're active on Telegram. So in Telegram, you can just reach out and we can have a conversation as well. So those are all the announcements that I had. If anybody has any questions or anything else, we have 10 more minutes, and Amiya is here. He has a lot of experience in this sector. I would encourage you to use this time to, if you have any questions, general questions even. Yeah, Naveen, you have some questions. Please unmute yourself and speak. Yeah,
I just have a question.
go ahead, Naveen. You're muted right now.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I think Mia was wanted to tell something. I think yeah.
Hmm.
Can I go ahead or
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
so quick introduction. I have 15 years of experience in analytics. First 7 years worked on retail, and then into rest of the 7 years into different domain that does exist only in developed countries. The domain is landscaping, tree care, and plant health care. So I worked for a B2B business software product company, and so over the years, since I worked for building analytics capabilities for the business software, and over the years, I also have learned that we can do a lot, and it could be potentially a product for those B2B in that space, B2B SaaS. So I've been working with one of the person about that idea. So I also wanted to validate that, talking about taking through that. So maybe another session would be nice for that. And at this point, the specific question, if I could ask, as I was talking about, it's an analytics product where you know um, uh, focusing on the company's growth, especially helping them with the decisions that they could take with their own data, leveraging their own data. Um, so I'm thinking about how I could basically be plan out the GTM to bring the customers in. So of course, working on a product, and since I have built with a team, I could build a product with some capabilities that I could not build with the company that I work for. With that could but potentially be exploit the more data that they have in. So I'm looking for some thought process on that, like how I can basically have my GTM. I understood that everybody have their unique GTM to go based on their use cases. What I was listening to Amiya and Sreeragh conversation. So if you have any inputs on that, that would be great.
So, Naveen, if I understand correctly, you're talking about an analytics-based product and you're trying to figure out what kind of GTM you could put in place, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is the same thing that I was telling Sreeragh, that one, you need to figure out exactly what you are doing with respect to your product. Now, for me, the information that analytics-based product does not give me any insight to be able to comment anything further. So you would probably have to talk a lot more about what kind of person you're targeting, what is that the product is doing, what sort of problems are you looking to solve. That would see eventually when you're looking at the GTM plan, the objective here is to figure out where your users are, who your users are, why would they want your product, and how would you attract them with respect to your communication, with your messaging, with your content, etc., to get them to a certain place where your top of the funnel becomes a middle of the funnel, which could potentially lead to some certain level of conversion. So once you have, or at least once I have more data, then only I can comment. But otherwise, it's a fairly simple framework in terms of what needs to be done. But the complexity lies in identifying those points. Who is your customer? You can keep it very wide. You don't need to. You actually should look at being as narrow as possible and then try and figure out how to approach them. So if someone says that I want to sell this product to say Raghav or Naveen, but Naveen is a very different person from Raghav. I can't have one messaging that will attract Raghav and also attract Naveen. right? Until unless I say that they are both colleagues at so and so place with the same interest, doing the same thing, looking for same solutions, etc., etc., then my messaging and content could attract them in one capacity. But otherwise, it's relatively very difficult. So the clarity in terms of answering what is it that you are doing, for whom, why, what kind of messaging, and all of those things, that's what will actually govern your GTM. So first, develop clarity there.
Yeah. So the target industry is landscape.
Naveen, just to interrupt, like I don't want this to be like a very specific, to your thing. I just want to have like a generalist questions. I think it makes more sense to have like a longer session if you have a very specific thing about your specific thing. So I would encourage somebody else who has like more general questions to participate. I think Manoj, you had something. Would you like to ask?
Hi, yeah, I was not in a position to switch on the mic also, but anyway, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I want to know from the investor. I forgot his name. What are
Amiya.
the Amiya? Yeah, hi Amiya, how are you?
All good. All good.
Nice to connect in the LinkedIn today morning.
Sure.
Yeah, I need to know what are the 6 main parameters that an investor checks before investing in a startup. The major 6 categories.
Okay, very interesting. Why 6?
6 is a reasonable number, I believe. There are a lot.
Okay, so there's no simple answer to this question. And I don't know if I can tell you 6, but what I will tell you is this. What it depends on is the stage. If you're a pre-seed stage, or if you're a seed stage startup, then the approach is very different from if you're a pre-series A or a series A, because then you have a lot of traction.
Okay.
You have certain level of risks that are there in terms of product, in terms of market. You have already mitigated them to a certain extent, right?
Okay.
So if I'm looking at it from a risk perspective, when you're pre-seed, everything is a risk. You have got a legal risk, you have got a financial risk, you've got a product risk, you've got a market risk, you've got a team risk. Everything is
Right.
a risk.
Right.
But once you start generating a little bit of revenue, then you have mitigated your product risk to a certain level. You might not have penetrated the market. You will still go ahead and figure out whether there are any legal or compliance issues that I need to take care of, right? So it becomes, with every stage, the approach changes. The parameters completely change.
Okay.
If I'm looking at a pre-series A or a series A startup, I'm going to look at their balance sheet and P&L statements and whatnot more than anything else, because for me, the unit economics need to make sense. And
Right.
the infusion that they're talking about, the dilution that they're talking about, the valuation that they're talking about, that needs to make sense.
Right.
It's a different ball game altogether. Because I know that you have already managed to sell this product and you have already generated 2 crores of revenue within the past 2 years. So there is a certain demand in the market. Now, I agree and align with that demand based on my research or not. That's point one. But after that, it's all about finance. And then some other variables, depending on what I see or how the conversation goes, that could come into the picture. If I don't get a sense that I have enough confidence on the business that you're talking about, then I will have more discussion about that. But primarily, the focus is different. But if at a pre-seed level, I'm talking about things, then there is no business. You have not done any validation of the product. You've just built
It's
something.
just an idea.
Or maybe let's just say that you've
An
built
MVP.
something.
Yeah, correct.
You've just built something because you could. There is nobody in the world who can tell that I want this product.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you are at that particular stage, then the approach is very, very different. Then I'm talking about your sense of, like, if you hear the conversation with Sreeragh as well, right? It was more about what is it that you've built. There's nothing new. You can still do it. Nothing to say you can't.
Yeah, the differentiation.
Exactly. So differentiation, see, personally speaking, differentiation for a lot of people is very important. For me, it's not, because the way I see it, there are only 2 kinds of businesses. First, where you have an upfront moat. Second, where you have execution only. Now, over a period of 5 to 10 years, if you can survive, then every big business becomes execution.
Okay.
Right? So if an investor wants to come into the picture, I'm not looking at a 2-year picture or a 1 year or a 6-month period. I'm looking at potentially 5 years. I'm looking at potentially 10 years, because It's not just the current round. I could eventually be interested in investing further in a follow-on round.
Okay.
So I'm
That's
looking
good.
at maybe about 1 to 10 years time frame before I can take an exit. And in that particular time frame, at least, so that is my personal opinion. You will find a very different opinion out there. People need a lot of differentiation upfront.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
But that's another criteria. The other thing is that as a founder, now again, something that needs to be appreciated about Sreeragh, coming from a customer support background to get into development, to be able to develop a product that shows a lot of great determination and understanding in terms of and desire and clarity to define those features and want those and put those in picture. So what the founder brings to the table, what is it that they have already achieved? Because I see a lot of people who say that I have this very brilliant idea, and if I do this, I'll make $1 billion in the next 2 years and whatnot. But what have you done so far? A lot of times they present a platform or a product or whatever. And when you're looking at that, you get a sense that, okay, this is a half-baked thing. Why have you done this why have you prioritized A over B?
Correct.
Right? So what does the founder bring to the table? That is very, very important, because at this particular stage, and I'm sure everybody here has heard this, that this particular stage, the bet is more on the founder than anything else.
Yeah. You're investing on the founder rather than the product.
Exactly, because there is nothing that you have validated. So there is no way for me to actually get a sense of anything at all.
Okay.
So
basically, my question will be answered like this. Maybe I identified six stages basically of the startup, like ideation, validation, launch, growth, maturity, and an exit. The 6 major stages.
You could say that.
Yeah, all these stages, the parameters will be different, right?
Yes.
The parameters to invest. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But everything has got a nuance to it. I mean, see, this is a very generalized.
Very complicated.
Notion.
Yeah.
No, this is a very, very generalized notion.
Okay.
You can do it in 6. Let me give you an example. Growth for someone like Zepto, is it the same as someone else who's probably started at the same time? Or Blinkit,
it may not be.
or Swiggy, or
Correct.
Zomato, is it the same?
No.
So when I'm saying growth, it's not one thing, it's one word. But the meaning of that word, once I get into the details, is very, very different.
Yes, that's true.
And that puts different companies into different places where the discussion becomes very different.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? So I wouldn't, for simplicity's sake, you could put it in 6, 7, whatever. I mean, it's up to you to define whatever milestones, intersection points that you want to do it. But at the end of the day, the devil lies in the details. And that's where I see, every situation at the point at which you are. Let me give you another example. You're a growth stage company. You're having a discussion with me. I ask you the question, what's your runway? You tell me 3 months. That puts you in a very different place in comparison to I ask you what's the runway and you tell me 12 months.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a very different discussion now.
That's true. So we cannot generalize anything. It's all, I mean,
I
got it. Yeah.
When you're learning things, when you're starting things, it's okay.
You can put it in.
You want some anchor.
Correct. You need some compartmentation to identify, but when it comes to the reality, it's everything is unique. Every founder is unique. Every startup is unique. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Got it.
Take the best founders in the world. I mean, people who are sitting on Shark Tank as well. Take each and every individual. They are very different people. They might be at similar stages, but they are very different people. You would not approach one person the same way as you would approach another.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. So the same thing applies. That stage is a compartmentalization which does not have a lot of significance once you go into the depth.
Right. So it's basically, I can say, is it the perceived value? We can say, like, yeah. Everyone's perspective will be different, and yes.
See, most things in this ecosystem are perception.
Perception. Correct.
Your perception of the same company at the same situation with the same founder. Let's just say that you're a founder pitching, and I've got a panel sitting of 5 different investors. These 5 people have very different perception of you.
So even Sreeragh also mentioned the same thing, right? He cannot match with any of the investors, right? Yeah, right. Someone will be interested in investing, but he may not like it, right? So yeah.
It's a good thing, because one of those things that founders need to learn is how to say no to investors. not feel the pressure. That is a very rare quality. You don't have that a lot. Because people, especially founders, are always like, I don't want this investor to go. What will happen if this investor goes away? I don't want this customer to go. What happens if this customer goes away?
Yeah.
But when you're truly aligned and believe in the cause that you're pursuing, who stays with you is more important than who leaves.
That's true.
And who stays has to be based on aligned vision, aligned outcomes and achievements that you want to have.
The value over money, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice. Thanks a lot, Amiya, for a lot of insights I got it today. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
Nice speaking with you.
Same.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone who participated. Thanks, Amiya, as well. Thanks, Sreeragh. So we'll connect again in the next month. So if you're interested in having this kind of a session held for your startup or your product, please do sign up on the form. The form is available at the startupclub.info. You can fill in the startup pitch workshop form, and I'll reach out to you. All right. We'll close here. Thank you so much again. Bye.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.